I hope you're having a good Wednesday, Riverside. I hope you're well, and I appreciate the opportunity to share some thoughts with you. However, I have a feeling after a couple of minutes, you're going to decide this is just a history lesson. Stay with me. I promise application near the end. Listen to this passage with me. Whoever loves his life will lose it. But whoever disregards his life in this world will keep it for eternity. And that's John chapter 12, verse 25. There's a saying in Texas that we love so much, we made a flag out of it. And the words on the flag are, "Come and take it." Referring, of course, to that little cannon that the men of Gonzales, Texas had, and the Mexican army wanted back. Come and take it. As much as I wish it was, that is not original with Texas. I carry a money clip, and engraved on that clip is the likeness of a Spartan soldier in a battle helmet, and underneath it the Greek letters that spell in English Molon Labi, which translates, "Come and take them." Come and take them. And that story begins way back in 482 BC. The great king Xerxes was followed by a little under 1 million troops. And everywhere they marched, he gained more and more soldiers. They had rather join him than die. And by the time he reached central Greece and a place called Thermopylae, he had millions of troops. There were ships by the thousands, coming around the coast with his food supplies. They never heard of an army like this in the ancient world. And he had it in for Greece. So they're moving toward Thermopylae for a confrontation with the Greeks. And they come to a little narrow 60-foot wide pass, high cliffs all around, and it had a wall built inside of it to keep invaders out. There were some men in that pass. So who were they? And what were they doing there? The story goes way back to a man named Lycurgus. You see, Sparta lived in terrible territory. Sparta lived in territory they'd conquered. They couldn't afford to be soft. And Lycurgus laid down a curriculum for them that was unbelievable. Now, we don't have time to tell that story right now. But just remember, Sparta is a military colony. And this is the background at Thermopylae. Xerxes is coming, and Greece is having a festival. So they said to a man named Leonidas, "Why don't you take some men and go on ahead, and we'll come later." Leonidas picked 300 men. All Spartans, all men who had families, all men who had sons. You see, they weren't intending to come back, and the family names had to be carried on. 7,000 other Greeks also went, but they stayed behind the wall and behind the 300 Spartans, while Xerxes sent a message to Leonidas and said, "You don't have a chance. Lay your weapons down." Leonidas replied, "Come and take them. Come and take them." And Xerxes did. He tried the pass, and 10,000 dead men later, he still didn't have it. The 7,000 other Greeks, they went home before the war started. And they tried to get Leonidas to come along. They said, "You should come too." And he said these famous words, "We didn't come here to go home. We came here to die." Xerxes finally took the pass at an unbelievable cost to himself and to his army, and also at the cost of 300 men who had made a covenant with death. A covenant with death. You see, here are some men who, if anyone ever has, they've learned the lesson of disregarding self in preference of a higher calling. I'll repeat that. They've learned the lesson of disregarding self in preference of a higher calling. These men have that down pat. And you and I know some people like that. We know some first responders like that. We know some military people like that. And we know some hospital worker, health worker, nurse types that have done that. Jolene, Casey, Karen, Carla, and maybe some that I'm not thinking of right now, disregarding themselves in preference of a higher calling during this deadly time. God bless them. And you see, this has been sort of a history lesson. This is also the teaching of Christ in John chapter 12, verse 25 that we read in the beginning regarding the spiritual, regarding the faithful. Whoever loves his life will lose it, but whoever disregards his life in this world will keep it for eternity. We're in a terrible mess right now, one that we may never fully and completely recover from. But those of us who are believers, Christians, the faithful, have also made a covenant with death. We've made a covenant with death, dying and burying self in the watery grave, rising to newness of life. See, the one who loves his life on this earth is one who is living for now, for today, contradicting the command of Jesus, don't lay up treasure on this earth, Matthew 6:19. The person who disregards his life is one who is living for the life to come, disregarding himself in preference of a higher calling, following Jesus, helping others physically and especially spiritually, and who will one day be honored by God. May God help us through these difficult times to remember who we are and whose we are. God bless you.